Hello, hello, hello. Jesus is more than gold. What a fantastic song. All right. Thank you so much for joining me today. My name is Deji Agboade. I am delighted to join you once again today on Market Faith. It's always such a joy to bring you, teachings and things that, I think will really be a blessing to you and to your business. And so today we're just continuing in some of the things we've been talking about people within our businesses and within our organizations. And today I want to, just try to narrow and focus on retaining great people in our organizations, especially in our part of the world, in the continent of Africa, in Nigeria as well. One of the things that happens is small business owners complain a lot about people leaving them. In other words, maybe they hired someone, they've spent time training this person, they've spent time with this person has spent quite a lot of time with them, and then all of a sudden the person gets up one day and they decide to leave. All right. People even talk about how they've stopped training people because they just take the training and they go somewhere else and all those types of things, right? And I understand because I've run a small business before, and I understand what it is when you spend time training and it seems like as if people are insensitive and they just hop and leave, or people have been critical to your business, people have been vital to your business and they just hop and leave. And it's always very hurtful, it's always very painful. I remember when, for me, for example, in my business, there was a guy who was very instrumental and very helpful in my business, in the advisory business that we were providing. And one day, without even saying a word, he received his salary, and the next he stopped showing up at work. I just noticed that he had dropped his laptop, he had dropped everything, he stopped picking my calls. Till today, I've not even spoken to him. And this was what, 5, 6, 7 years ago, thereabout. I don't even remember anymore. And I remember being very devastated. I'm feeling very, very tired because I was in the middle of a project, right? This wasn't even somebody that left after the project was over. This was in the middle of probably one of our biggest clients at the time. And he just hopped and poof, that was it. All right. And so I'm doing this video today to see how I can say some things that can help, because since then I've also learned some things that have made me better in terms of retaining great people. And so I want to share some of the things that I've learned over the years, even after some of my own experiences with losing people who just, get up and leave in the middle of, our business. Okay. So the first thing I want to say to you as we dive in today is that the psychology of human beings has been studied extensively for dozens, for decades, for probably even millennia of years, really. And this psychology essentially remains true over time, all right? And what we just need to do is to understand the psychology of human beings. You see, I was always in a place where I was very upset with people that would leave our business because I felt like, look, you are so insensitive. You're not sensitive to the business. You're not sensitive to me, to my feelings, and how I think about it. You're not even sensitive to the plans that I have for you and all those types of things. I remember feeling that way and having all these types of emotions. But until I realized that, look, I shouldn't be upset because some of these things, if I actually opened my eyes and I was being honest with myself, I should have seen them coming. As a matter of fact, for many of us, if we will admit, if the tables were turned and we were in the position of those great people, we would have left as well. That's the reality. So you need to calm down, right? And sit back and think about this again. I know you're upset that this person left, and I don't necessarily agree that the person should have stayed or not have stayed. It depends on the circumstances behind that situation. But yes, this person has gone. The question is this: what can you do about it going forward? What are you learning from that process to become a better person? All right. So in this video, if I can't cover it in this video, I'll cover it also in the next. But I want to look at some of the specific things that you can do, right? But I want to start out by talking about how the psychology of the way people think about things and about their businesses and things like that, and about themselves and their lives, right? And let's see how that will help us to learn today. Now, the first thing is this, right? Ladies and gentlemen, great people are people too. In other words, great people are people also. All right. What that means is this: great people are not machines. Great people are not robots. Great people are people too. What does that mean? It means that they have emotions, they have feelings, they have aspirations. If you're sending your children to some of the most expensive schools, they have aspirations to send their children as well. If you're doing some fantastic things for yourself, they have aspirations for those things as well. So when they work with you and it doesn't seem like they can get those aspirations fulfilled with you, no matter what it is, no matter how sweet what you're saying is, chances are that they will leave. That's the reality. All right. So instead of getting upset by it, right, embrace it, do what you can to manage the situation, right? But understand that at the end of the day, you are the one that is ultimately responsible for your business and for the progress of your business. So that's very important. Great people are people too. Now, why is that also important? Because of what we talk about in the Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And we're going to put up the image for you to see the triangle of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right? And I want to leverage that to talk about what you can do to retain great people. Because what you will find in Maslow's hierarchy of needs is what people are actually looking for them to stay in a particular place. One of the reasons why people commit suicide sometimes is because when you look at the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, one of the reasons people commit suicide can be traced to probably one of the reasons or one of the hierarchies, right, in Maslow's hierarchy. And Maslow's hierarchy essentially identifies 5 key areas and 5 key layers of people's lives and the things that influence people, right? At the bottom of the pyramid, right, is the first, the most basic and the most important needs of human beings: food, clothing, shelter. That's the first and the most basic. Anybody who is working with you and their take home cannot take them home will leave you. That's the basic thing. Look, it doesn't matter whether you are the most handsome person in the world or you're a fantastic motivational person. If the person sees that their take home, that what they take home in terms of money cannot take them home, they can't afford food, they can't clothe themselves, they can't pay the rent, right? Listen, they're not going to stay with you for a long time. All right. So the first level of needs are what you call psychological needs: food, water, accommodation, clothes, all those types of things, right? So if you are hiring people, you must understand that if they can't meet these basic needs in their lives, no matter how good what they're doing for you is, they will most likely leave. Okay. So people are influenced by, number one, the ability to afford the basics of life. That's the first thing. And the first thing I believe is Abraham Maslow identified in the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right? Which is the fact that you can afford the basics. What are the basics? Food, clothing, water, right? If you hire someone, for example, who you pay, let's assume 1,000, but the person spends 900 to go to work and come back every single day, they cannot survive on the remaining 100. It's absolutely impossible. All right. So it's very, very important that you understand that. The second thing about what influences people is how they compare with other people at their level. How they compare with other people at their level. So if they went to school with a certain group of people and those people seem like they are making advancements in their lives and they don't look like as if they are making such advancements, there is a very strong possibility that they are looking elsewhere to see where they can make such advancements. One of the things I learned about people leaving your organization is that anytime somebody leaves, they are not leaving when they drop their resignation letter. They left 6 months before they dropped their resignation letter. Most people that leave your organization first in their mind before they actually drop a letter. And they always give people an opportunity before they leave. All right. So people, when they look at their peers and they go for social events, they go for class reunions, they go for all those types of things, and they see that with their peers, they are not anywhere near where their peers are, the chances of them leaving you is very, very high. And it has nothing to do with you. It's not about whether you are a nice person or not a nice person. So that's the second thing that influences people. The third thing that I have noticed that influences people is hope for the future, right? When they look around them, Is there a future where they are, right? And this sometimes can be very challenging, especially for small business owners who are also the CEOs of the organization. Because you are the CEO and the person has already occupied maybe the maximum role that the person can occupy, the next role the person can occupy is maybe CEO, but you're not ready to relinquish your CEO role right now. So what's that person going to do, right? And I'm going to talk about what are some of the things that you can do in that kind of situation as well, all right? So it's very, very important. The hope for the future. Do people see a future where they are? Right? After people have sorted out their psychological needs, they've sorted out their need for safety, which is the second one according to Maslow's hierarchy of needs, for safety, for security, etc. The third level is the need for relationships and friends, right? If people don't feel like there is hope, they can make good friends, they can have solid relationships, the chances are that they would leave. So the other thing is this: do people feel like they are making progress? Do people feel like they themselves are making progress? Now, this is slightly different from having hope or from seeing the future, right? It's the fact that, look, even if there's no, the future of the organization is one thing where I'm working. The other thing is, personally, am I making progress? So, a business can be doing well, and you can see that this business will easily hit 500 million turnover, 1 billion turnover. But within that business, within that system, you are still on the same level for 3 years, for 4 years, for 5 years, right? The question then starts to occur in your mind that what am I doing here, right? Am I making progress? Am I being promoted? Am I meeting people? What is the quality of my relationships? Am I able to change my car when I want to change my car? Am I able to travel abroad when I want to travel abroad? These are things that great people are also thinking about. Now, incidentally, these are things you yourself you are thinking about in your own personal life. What are you doing? What are you going to do with yourself? Are you going to be able to afford this? Are you going to be able to afford that? What exactly will you be able to do in your lifetime? All right. So, and these are things that great people are thinking about as well. So they are not inhuman. They are actually very human, but they are also thinking about themselves, because they will look at you most times and say, Mr. So-so-so or Mrs. So-so-so is already sorted. They have a business, they can live for their children, they can do this, they can do that. What about me? What am I going to do for myself? What am I going to do for my life? Now, even if, and it's important to put this caveat out there, even if you meet all the needs of people, psychologically, safety-wise, for love and belonging, the need for esteem, the need for self-actualization, if you are able somehow to provide all of these things, it doesn't mean that people will still leave. I want to ask you a question. What was it that Judas wanted that he didn't have, that he still had to betray Jesus? It always fascinates me, right? You were in charge of the money. In fact, you could do whatever you wanted with the money, right? But there was just something about the guy that just felt like, look, this Jesus cannot be for real. I just don't believe that this guy can be for real, all right? And then he went and he did what he did. So what am I trying to say to you, right? No matter what happens and no matter how things work, no matter how great you are to certain people, people will still leave. They may not leave in droves like they probably would have left, right? But great people will still leave. As a matter of fact, right, you need to just prepare your mind that anyone who is exhibiting levels of greatness, there is a chance and there is a possibility that that person will leave. So nothing is guaranteed, no matter how you try. People will leave. However, now this is the point. Even when people are leaving, what should be your disposition and how should you react and how should you respond to it? Very, very critical. And please pay attention here. When people leave and great people say they are leaving your organization, right? The first thing I want to say to you is this, because like we said earlier, people will leave no matter what you provide. Some people will still feel the need to go start their own thing, do whatever it is. When they feel that they've reached the peak with you, they will feel like they need to go, that kind of thing, right? But what can you do, right, as somebody who has worked with this person for a while, if the person is determined and hell-bent on leaving, right? Like I said, in one of my posts, and if you don't follow me on Instagram, I want to encourage you to do that. I posted something one time. I said that great people are like a boss. There's always another one coming, all right? So you must realize that. Don't tie your destiny down to one person. If the person leaves, you will still move forward. Things may be difficult for a short period, but no matter how long weeping endures, joy always comes in the morning. All right? So be encouraged and don't feel like you have been abandoned. Now, when great people are leaving, what should you do? What should be your disposition? Number one, don't fight them. Please hear me what I'm saying. Do not fight them. I urge you and I encourage you, by the grace of God, support them as much as you possibly can. There is no point wasting all the investment you have made in that person. This person has already decided that they are leaving. Support them as much as you can. Why? You've already invested in them. Don't sever the relationship, right? And then destroy and throw away all that investment, right? One of the organizations where I have worked, one of their, subtle strategies is they don't fight people when they are leaving, no matter how much they've invested in you, because they realize that wherever you go, right, and you're looking for someone to do a particular task, right, you will come back to them. If you have a good relationship with them, you come back to them for the execution of that task. All right. So the point I'm trying to make to you is this: when you have great people that you have invested in and they decide to leave, most of them, you are sure that they will do well. Maintain a great relationship with them so that in their future, right, you will always be in their great books. So don't fight them. Support them as much as you possibly can, no matter how painful it is. Give them a big hug. Do a send forth for them if you can, right? And let them leave with their heads held high. Very, very important. Don't let your emotions get the best of you and be agitated and throw them out, literally. Because the way you treat them, right, other people in the organization will see it and they determine whether they want to work for you or not. The second thing is this: let them know they can always contact you, right? This is part of you showing support. Let them know that they can always contact you and you will always be open to pick their calls. You will always be open to have coffee, to have lunch and discuss with them, find out how they're doing. But do not fight them. And then the third thing is this: leave them alone and move on. All right? Leave them alone and move on. Some of us, great people, leave and we are still hoping in our minds that one day they will come back. Listen, they may never come back. In fact, 9 out of 10 times, they don't come back. All right? Stop waiting for them to come back. They are not prodigal children, right? If they were great people and they left, they are very calculated about their leaving. They are very intentional about their leaving. Stop wishing that they will come back. Move on like as if they will not. If they do, it is a plus. If they don't, you have moved on with your life already. All right? Very, very important. Move on. Don't expect them to come back begging, because especially in our culture, people will say things like, don't worry, you won't do well, you will come back to me. Don't be like that. That's not the way of a child of God. Listen, let them go with the grace of God. Let them go in peace, out of joy in your heart. Release them by the power of God and let them know that they can contact you and that you are happy to support them in any way you can in the future. All right, my time is fast spent today. All right, I've just been able to cover one part of how to retain great people. In the next video, I'm going to talk about specific things that you can do to retain great people in your organization. Thank you so much for watching today. I hope that it has really helped you. All right, and I'll see you next time on Market Faith. Thank you.